Okay, looks like it's time to put this engine in. I'm basically what I did is I just used my little rolling cart here, pulled it up to my bench, and just kind of slid the motor onto it. A little bit too heavy for me to lift down with my back saw. You know, work smarter, not harder. I'm gonna use the engine hoist. I just used a bolt that was extra bolt I had threaded into there, and then there's a hanger on the intake manifold, part of the lifting setup that they have. So anyway, we're just gonna lift that up and set it onto the ground, and then we're gonna try to bolt this transmission onto it. All right, before I push these things together, I thought I should show you guys, in case you haven't pulled your transmission off before, the throwout bearing right here. This is actually quite new. I just did this clutch not that long ago because I was going up a hill in my truck and all of a sudden lost all drive. And what happened, I've never seen it happen before, I actually stripped all the splines out of the friction disc, out of the clutch disc. All the splines stripped. The input shaft on the transmission was fine, untouched, but for whatever reason, they all stripped out. So this is actually a new clutch and a new throwout bearing, probably about 1,000 kilometers ago, maybe 1,500 kilometers ago. So, but if you have not changed your throwout bearing or your clutch, it goes without saying, this would be the time to do it. One other note, the axles where they go onto the transmission, this particular one uses pins. You actually slide the axle, you can see them over there. They slide onto the spline shaft, and they have a pin that presses down in through the axle into the shaft. Other ones use a more of a conventional style, which is this internal circlip, and you push it in and they snap in. I've worked on both, but this particular one, my 92, uses the drive pin, which can be a bit of a pain, but it's also it's kind of easy. So, because the one that I had with the circlips was actually a right pain in the ass to pull out. Anyway, we're gonna put this thing together. All right, that went quite easy actually. Transmission's bolted on. Now I'm going to lower it down. I'm going to put the lower cross brace that goes from the bottom of the frame ears, I guess you could say. It's part of the motor mount. You guys will know it when you see it on yours. I'm going to mount that on there, and then I may lift it up through the bottom, or I might try to use floor jacks and lift it up in place like I did the way I took it out. We'll see how it goes. Okay, we got the, I guess you call it the rear motor mount bar, for lack of better words. I got that mounted on. Also, threw the oil filter on, because that's easier to do. And now is the time, I almost forgot, to put a small wiring harness that goes, the bracket bolts into these two holes, and then you've got your oil pressure sender, and then the wire harness goes up the block somewhere. So I gotta bolt that on now. Much easier now than later. Okay, got that bolted on, very easy. The only problem is I'm not too sure where this all bolts together. I know part of it is for, there's a starter thing on there, and part of that is for, I believe, the carburetor. I think that bolts, yeah, that wires into the carburetor. So I'm gonna have to get the motor in and figure out where this bracket here bolts on and this bracket here bolts on. I can't remember. It won't be that hard. Once you get everything bolted up, it should be obvious. But I think the next thing to do is try to lift this motor in place. All right, I decided I am gonna go up through the opening with an engine, a cherry picker here. It's gonna be much easier, I think. So I got it all rigged up, and give this a go, see if it works. All right, that was actually really slick. That only took me like 5 minutes, and that engine was basically bolted in. Both the motor mounts on the side, or the bar on the ends there, and then in the front motor mount. Actually, it's a transmission mount. So now it's just a matter of hooking up hoses, drive shafts, shifter linkage, all that, and we should have this thing done. Yeah, I think the next part of this video will be, I'm not going to film that all, but the next part of the video will be basically getting ready to start this thing. All right, I'm just going to show you where those two brackets on that small wiring harness go. The one goes down there. You can see it's actually bolted onto the thermostat housing, and the other one is bolted onto it goes through the alternator mounting bracket down there. So if you're wondering where those go, that's where they go. Pretty obvious once you get the harness installed, the carburetor and everything in. But right now, we're getting close to being finished, but I think I'm going to call it right there. Stick this video out. I've got another project I've got to go on, and it's going to postpone this a little bit. But yeah, great progress today. The next one should be flashing the motor up. Thanks a lot. Any comments, leave them below. Give us a like, thumbs up, and also a subscribe. Thanks a lot. Bye.